Hey there, high level listeners. Welcome back to High Level Listening, the podcast where we help you sound more natural in English through real conversations in both American and British English. I'm Kat from the United States.
And I'm Mark from the UK. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about a very common small talk topic, your mum and your dad, or your parents. Colleagues or friends might ask you, how have your parents been?
Or if you're in the United States, you might hear, how have your folks been? How have your folks been?
Right, yeah, there's some good differences between American and British English today. But like always, we're going to read a short story about our parents, our mums and dads. Kat's will be in American English, and then mine will be in British English. And they'll both be full of great vocabulary and phrases to help you describe your family in a natural, conversational way.
Don't forget, if you want even more help, you can get our Season 4 study pack from the link in the description. Every week, we make new bonus materials for every single episode, which includes the full transcript, a picture dictionary of today's vocabulary, listening activities, and much, much more. You can join us here on YouTube, or you can find it all in the description below.
So let's hear today's stories. Kat will go first, and I'll ask today's question. Kat, how have your parents been lately?
Oh, my folks have been doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. My mom's retired now, but she's still super busy. She volunteers, does yoga, and somehow keeps the whole family organized still. She's dependable and has this calm, kind of take charge energy. My dad's still working part-time, mostly because he enjoys staying active. He's practical, very low-key, and has a great sense of humor. We're still really close. We don't talk every day, but we check in regularly. It's nice, honestly. As I've gotten older, I've really started to appreciate how steady and supportive they've both been. All right. So I finished my script in American English, and I'm going to ask Mark the same question. Hey, Mark, how have your parents been lately?
They're doing all right, I think. My mum's recently retired and absolutely loving it. She's always out and about, meeting friends or just pottering around the garden. She's very bubbly and sociable, and she's always got a new hobby on the go these days. My dad still works a bit. He's basically semi-retired. He's always been quite reserved, so we're not overly emotional, but I think there's a good sense of mutual respect between us. I try to visit them when I can, and we'll have a natter and a catch-up at theirs. I think as I get older, I've been more and more intentional about keeping in touch with them.
Well, that's a good idea, for sure.
Okay, yeah, so you've heard both of our stories now. Don't worry if you didn't catch everything the first time around. We're about to go back to the start and go through them once more, and we'll focus on all the vocab and phrases about your parents and your relationship and what they do or what they're like and so on. So back to the beginning, Kat. How have your parents been doing?
My folks have been doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. Okay.
Yay, immediately.
So we'll start with the word of the day. My folks. My folks. Now, my folks, yes, some people learn the word folks as in some folks do this. It's very casual and it just means people. But if I say my folks, those are my parents. So, how have your folks been? How have your parents been? How are your folks? How are your parents? In the United States, it's much more common to use folks. Mark, do you use this phrase at all? Do you use this word?
No, I've heard people use it, but I think they're trying to make a joke, or they're using it in a
Okay.
jokey way or a strange way. But yeah, I would just say my parents, my mum and
Okay.
dad.
Your mom and dad, yeah. So my folks have been doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. Now, there's a couple of different ways. We could say, how have your parents been doing? How have your parents been doing? Or simply enough, how are your parents? Now, if Mark had asked me, how are your parents? I could still say, yeah, they've been doing good. Yeah, they've been doing good. Or they're good. They're good, right? So how are your parents? My folks have been doing pretty well or pretty good if you want to be more casual. They have been doing pretty good. Thanks for asking.
It's a nice question. It's a good one. You
It
could use
is.
this at work. Like in the
Yeah,
intro,
I
we
think
said
so.
with colleagues, friends. This is not an inappropriate or too personal question. This is quite an acceptable small talk topic. How have your parents
Yeah,
been?
for sure. Especially if you've talked about your parents in another conversation at any point in time, then definitely. Like, Mark, how are your parents?
They're doing all right, I think. Yes. So back to grammar. They are doing all right. So how are your parents? They are doing all right. They are all right. They are okay. I could also take Kat's sentence. They have been doing all
Mhm.
right. All three of those tenses make sense for this question.
Yeah.
They are all right now. They are doing all right these days. They have been doing all right over the last few weeks and months.
Mhm.
So you don't have to stress too much about which tense you use. And this is quite a British one, I think. All right. Yeah. Doing all right. We love to
I
use
would
this
use it
word.
too.
Oh, you would? Okay, fair.
Yeah, absolutely. They're doing
This
all right. Yeah, they're doing all right.
doing
But
all
all
right.
right is more like okay. Like they're doing
Right.
okay.
Yeah, right. Not great, not terrible, but yeah, all right. People use this to talk about themselves a lot. Oh, how are you, Mark? Yeah, I'm all right. Or how was your weekend? Yeah, it was all right. How are your parents? Yeah, they're doing all right. It's a very standard answer that nothing is wrong. So everything's all right. All right, back to your side of the story, Kat. Let's talk about your mum first. What's your mum been up to?
My mom or my mom?
Okay. I always say your mum. That's M-U-M. That's the British
Uh-huh.
spelling and pronunciation.
And I
Your
would say
mum.
my mom, my mom, my mom.
Mm,
And when it comes to the word mother, I don't say my mother. I don't really refer to her as my mother. She's my mom. She's my mom.
right.
And
Yes.
sometimes I even call Mark's mom, I call her your mum because she's
Because she's
British.
British
He
too.
says it that way. It makes sense. But for
Mm.
me as an American, I would say my mom. So, great question, Mark. Can you ask me the question again? Because I quite like that question.
What's your mum been up to?
So what's my mom been up to? If you get up to something or you are up to something, it means what have they been doing? Okay, so what's your mom been up to? What's your mom been getting up to? What's your mom been doing? That kind of all have the same meaning. So I answered, my mom's retired now, but she's still super busy. She volunteers, does yoga, and somehow keeps the whole family organized. So I answered, my mom is retired now. She finished work and she never went back, right? My mom is retired. My mom's retired now, but she's still super busy. So she's still super busy. She volunteers, does yoga, and somehow keeps the family organized. So if you volunteer, you usually will go help or work with a community, a company, a group of people, and you don't get paid. So you might volunteer at the park. You might volunteer at a school. You might volunteer at a shelter or work with animals, something like that. She volunteers, does yoga, and somehow she has all these things that she does, and somehow she keeps the whole family organized. Okay, so she's got the calendar out. When we want to meet up on Sunday, she writes it down. She tells the family, okay, we're meeting on Sunday. We're meeting at Sunday. Everybody, we're meeting Sunday. Okay, so everybody knows. She keeps the whole family organized.
Right. That's some mum's magic.
I
Being
know, it
super
really is.
organized,
Uh-huh,
controlling everyone's schedule. That's a mum power.
exactly. All right. So, Mark, what about your mom? What has she been up to lately?
My mum's recently retired and absolutely loving it. She's always out and about, meeting friends or pottering around the garden. Okay, so you might hear it in my accent again. My mum, that's M-U-M, and similar to Kat, my mum's recently retired. That's my mum is. My mum's retired. So I can say my mum is working, my mum is employed, and when she stopped working, my mum is retired. She is retired. Or as a question, are you retired? You can hear it as a verb. She retired, like she chose to stop working. So she retired recently would also be correct. But my script says my mum's recently retired and absolutely loving it. She doesn't have to work. She doesn't have to commute. She has all this free time. So she's always out and about. She's always out and about. This phrase means she is leaving the house. She's doing things. She's doing activities. She's maybe running errands. And I imagine she's doing this during the day when other people have to go to work. So maybe she's going to the supermarket. Maybe she's going to plays, going to concerts, meeting friends is one example. Or if she stays at home and she stays in the garden, taking care of the flowers, tidying up, she's always pottering around. So that's the verb to potter. Often you'll hear it in two words, potter around or potter about. If you potter about the house, you're not really doing anything. You're not doing a lot of hard work. Yeah, you're maybe cleaning a little bit, tidying a little bit, picking up a plant and putting it over there. Oh, that looks nicer. That is pottering about. It's not hard work or serious work. Yeah, my mum sent me a message the other day telling me about all the new vegetables and fruits that she has planted in the garden.
Oh.
And that must mean she was pottering about in the garden over several hours, several days. It's a very relaxed pace. All right, back to your side then. What is your mum like?
That's a great question. What is my mom like? It's not what does my mom like, okay? The question is, what's your mom? So I'm talking about her personality. Like, what's your mom like? What's your best friend like? What's your boyfriend like? Tell me about their personality. So she's dependable. If I call her and she says, we're meeting on Tuesday at 2, she will be there Tuesday at 2. I can trust that she will be there. She is dependable, and has this calm, take charge energy. When someone takes charge of something, they basically become the boss. Okay, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Okay? You need something, I'll find it for you. You want something, I'll get it for you. I'm gonna organize it. I will take charge. Don't worry. So she's dependable and has this calm, take charge energy. I'm gonna ask Mark the same question. Mark, what's your mom like?
She's very bubbly and sociable, and she's always got a new hobby on the go.
Oh, yeah.
So, right.
That
so
sounds
two
like
words.
your mom.
Right. This is pretty accurate.
Yeah.
So 2 words to describe her personality. What is she like? She is very bubbly and sociable. Bubbly, bubbles like in a drink, in a fizzy drink. But a bubbly person is someone who is quite outgoing, likes to talk, likes to joke, laugh, and is just a very positive, upbeat person. She's often the first one to laugh, the first one to make a joke. That's a bubbly person. And this is always a positive trait. A bubbly personality can help everyone else relax. It can make sort of a work group feel a bit more friendly and chatty and less formal and serious. So she's bubbly and sociable. Sociable is similar. It means she likes to socialize. She enjoys telling stories. She likes listening to stories. She likes meeting her friends. She is sociable. And she's always got a new hobby on the go. So she's got something on the go. If you've got something on the go, then you are doing something. Or maybe you have recently started a new hobby. I went to her house last month and she has started knitting. So she's got a new hobby on the go. She's got knitting on the go now.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Even I didn't quite understand. Maybe that feels more British. So if something is
Right.
on the go means she is currently doing it. Is that kind of what it
Yes.
means?
Yeah, right. So my mum is at home and she's got her gardening on the go. She's got a
Okay.
bit of knitting on the
I
go,
see. Right.
painting as well. She has always got a new hobby on the go. So basically, every time I see her, she's trying something different. Last
Hmm.
month was knitting, and then before that, she tried painting. And then before that, she joined a choir and she was doing like gospel singing as well. It's every time, it's something new. She's always got a new hobby on the go, which I think is great. She's got all this time, all this energy to do new stuff. And yeah, so that's what my mum's like. She's bubbly, sociable, and she's always got a new hobby on the go. So we've talked about our mums. Now we can switch to dads, fathers. What's your dad been up to lately?
Well, my dad's still working part-time, mostly because he enjoys staying active. So my mom is retired, but my dad is still working part-time. Normally, when you work 40 hours a week, that's full-time, but he's working part-time, maybe 15, 20 hours a week. It just depends. My dad's still working part-time, mostly because he enjoys staying active. I know for my dad, it's been very important over the past 30 years that he gets up early, he goes to work, he comes home. That's his routine, right? That keeps him active. So I think some parents, even if they could retire, they might stay on just to stay active. So my dad is still working part-time, mostly because he enjoys staying active, right? Keeping that routine, getting up early. He enjoys doing these things. So he enjoys staying active. All right. So how about your dad? What's he been up to lately?
My dad still works a bit. He's basically semi-retired. So similar structure to Kat. My dad is semi-retired. Semi meaning half, like half retired. So maybe he only works 2 or 3 days a week. It's not fully retired where he works 0 days. He's semi-retired. And yes, you can say this if you work just a little bit. You're not ready to completely stop. I think my dad told me he doesn't want to retire because he would get bored. So, okay, let's learn a bit more about your dad. What's your dad like?
Well, I mean, you know him. He's practical, low key, and has a great sense of humor. So let's start with he is practical. Someone that is practical, I think that they can solve problems quite easily. So sometimes we might be panicking, thinking, oh, I have a problem with my car. And my dad just opens the hood, looks at it, and says, oh, there's a small problem here. Let's fix it. Oh, thanks, Dad. Very practical. Or you might have a problem in your house. The something's not working on one of the taps on the sink, and you think, oh, I have to call a plumber. And he says, no, 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 let me look at it. Okay. Oh, it's just a little, we'll just fix this right here. And okay, we're good. So this is practical, meaning he finds simple solutions to problems. And I like that about him. He's also very low key, very low key. I think the opposite of low key would be very dramatic if someone is very dramatic. But if someone is very relaxed, easygoing, very chill, they are low key. Maybe doesn't like a lot of attention sometimes as well. It's like
Right. Mm.
prefers, less attention, very low key. And I'm going to change the verb here. He has a great sense of humor. Now, I could have said he's funny. He's funny. That sounds like he tells jokes. But remember, my dad is low key. Maybe he doesn't always like the attention of just being funny, but he has a great sense of humor, meaning I think he's funny. Maybe he does things or enjoys a good laugh or something like that. He has a great sense of humor. So
Yeah.
he is practical, he is low key, and he has a great sense of humor.
Yeah, I would agree. He's a funny guy. He makes me
He's
laugh.
a funny guy. He makes you laugh. Good. So, what's your relationship like with your dad? Are you guys close? This is now that's a little bit more personal
Mm.
question, but
We're going
yeah,
deeper.
yeah, we're going a little bit deeper here. Maybe not the best
Mm.
question at work unless you're close with your friends, but me and Mark
Mm.
are pretty close. So, so what's
Hmm.
your relationship like with your dad?
Well, he's always been quite reserved. We're not overly emotional with each other, but there's a good sense of mutual respect between us. So, what's he like? What's your relationship like? I'm
Yeah.
talking about my dad. He's always been like over the years or throughout my whole life, he has always been quite reserved. If a person is reserved, they don't show their emotions very strongly or very loudly. If at school, for example, I did really well on a test, I got 100%, I'd say, Dad, look, I did well. And he would say, huh, good. Like, well done. Like, he wouldn't like jump in the air and high five me and say, yeah, okay, well done. So that's someone being reserved with their emotions. They may feel the emotions inside, but they don't show them very strongly. And we are not overly emotional. Maybe because he's my dad and he raised me, I have some similar traits to him. So me too, I am a little bit reserved. I don't get super excited for much. So we are not overly emotional. Emotional can be how much you laugh or how much you cry or how much you get angry. Overly emotional means we show these emotions a lot. But we're not. We're not overly emotional. I can't remember the last time I saw him cry. Even if we're watching a sad film or something, we're not overly emotional. But there's a good sense of mutual respect. Like, I respect him and his opinions, and he respects me and my opinions. Sometimes I've made a choice at school or in my career that he wasn't so sure about, but he let me do it because he respects my decisions. So there is a good sense of mutual respect, even if we don't hug and cry every time we see each other. Okay, so back to your side, Kat. Are you and your dad close?
Yeah, we're still really close. We don't talk every day, but we check in regularly. So we're still really close. We do use the word close for physically, but also, um,
Emotionally, right?
yeah, that's it. That's it. Also emotionally close. So we share a lot. We're very involved in each other's lives. We don't talk every day, but we check in regularly. Now, a lot of people say, oh, me and my mom, we text every day. We talk every day. We video chat every day. Well, I mean, we don't talk every day, but we check in regularly. When you check in with someone, hey, just calling to check in. How are you? If you want to check in with somebody, you want to know, hey, you good? Everything's good. Haven't talked to you in a while. Did anything change at work? How's your family doing? I just wanted to call and check in. So we check in regularly. Regularly. Sounds like maybe every Tuesday and Friday, every week,
Right.
right? Regularly. It's kind of this is our routine. So we check in regularly. All right, Mark, what about your parents? How often do you get to see them?
I try to visit them when I can, and we'll have a natter and a catch up at theirs. Okay, so I want to visit my parents. Well, I would like to visit my parents every weekend, but sometimes that's not possible. I have work, I have errands, I have trips. So I try to visit them when I can, when I'm available or when I'm free. So that could be a couple of times a month. Some months could be less or more. I try to visit them when I can, and we'll have a natter and a catch up. This is quite a British phrase.
A
If you
natter. Even
have
even
a
saying it in American English doesn't really sound right. A
right, it
natta.
just
A natta.
a natter. It's got to be with the double T's. Have a natter, and a natter is a conversation, a friendly conversation where you chat about everything: work, life, hobbies, TV, music, whatever. If you have a natter, it's quite a long, casual conversation. So I imagine I'll go to my parents' place, sit in the living room with a cup of tea, and we'll just have a natter. I'll have a catch up. Brits like to use it as a noun with have. We'll have a natter. We'll have a catch up. The verb is also fine. We will natter. We will catch up. They both have the same meaning. All right, so last part of your story, Kat. I think it's nice that you and your parents have such a close relationship still.
Yeah, it is really nice, honestly. And as I've gotten older, I've started to really appreciate how steady and supportive they've both been. So, as I've gotten older, which means kind of as I have matured, as I
Mm.
have aged, but as I've gotten older, over time, I've started to really appreciate. If you appreciate something, you are thankful for it. So, as I've gotten older, I've started to really appreciate how steady and supportive they've both been. Now, we're going to use the word how because I'm kind of surprised at the level of steady and support. So I'm surprised at
Right.
how steady, how supportive. Steady is that base. Remember, if I was panicking about something, my dad would help me with a quick fix, right? And supportive. When I make a decision, they say, I think that's a good decision. I think you've done really well. That's supporting me, that's helping me. So I have really appreciated how steady and supportive they have both been. They've both been steady and supportive. So I really appreciate how steady and how supportive they've both been. All right, what about you? Do you think you kind of feel the same way, Mark?
I think as my parents get older, I've been more intentional about keeping
Mm,
in touch with them.
that's good.
So, yeah, so Kat said, as I've gotten older, and I said, as they get older.
Mhm.
As they get older, as they've gotten older, would both be the same. I've been more intentional. Intentional means I want to do it. I want to make an effort to do it. Years ago in the past, if I didn't call my parents one weekend, I went, it's okay. I'll call next weekend. And then next weekend goes by, I'll do it next weekend. And eventually it's 1 or 2 months. But now, even if I'm a little bit busy, I will be intentional. I will make an effort to pick up the phone and check in. Hi, how are you? So I've been more intentional about keeping in touch. When I pick up the phone or send them a text message, I keep in touch. I just contact them. I say hello, or we just communicate a little bit to make sure they're all okay and they don't need any help with anything. So as they get older, I've been more intentional about keeping in touch with them. Okay, so now you've heard everything and we've broken everything down. Let's hear the stories once more. Kat, how have your parents been lately?
My folks have been doing pretty well. Thanks for asking. Well, my mom's retired now, but she's still super busy. She volunteers, does yoga, and somehow keeps the whole family organized. She's dependable and has this calm, take charge energy about her. My dad's still working part time, mostly because he enjoys staying active. He's really practical, low key, and has a great sense of humor. We're still really close. We don't talk every day, but we check in regularly. It's nice, honestly. As I've gotten older, I've started to really appreciate how steady and supportive they've both been. And what about you, Mark? How have your parents been?
They're doing all right, I think. My mum's recently retired and absolutely loving it. She's always out and about, meeting friends or pottering around the garden. She's very bubbly and sociable, and she's always got a new hobby on the go. My dad still works a bit. He's basically semi-retired. He's always been quite reserved. We're not overly emotional, but there's a good sense of mutual respect between us. And I try to visit them when I can, and we'll have a natter and a catch up at theirs. As they get older, I've been more intentional about keeping in touch with them.
All right, excellent job today, everybody. Now it's your turn. Can you describe your parents using some of the words and phrases we use today? Try using some of the phrases and vocabulary from this lesson to tell us. We read and reply to every single comment we get here on YouTube, so please get in touch.
Yes, please do. It's a great way to practice your English and share your stories. And as always, if you want the bonus materials, including the PDF transcripts, the listening activities, picture dictionary, and more, that's all available right now in the Season 4 study pack. You can check the link in the description below to get that right now.
Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you haven't talked to your folks in a while, maybe give them a ring.
Yes, tell them we said hello, and we'll see you for another episode of High Level Listening very, very soon. Bye bye.